This tutorial is for the Mini-Me assignment. Here are a few student examples for you to look at. You will need to plan and photograph your idea. So however you would like yourself to interact, put yourself in multiple places. We talked about this in class. Have your images on your desktop, and then you're going to open Photoshop. Instead of opening the images individually, we're going to let Photoshop do it for us. We're going to go to File, Scripts, Load Files into Stacks. It's going to allow us to browse our computer, find the images. If you hold down Shift, you can select more than one. Hit Open, hit OK. Instead of opening your images individually, this is going to put all of your images into one file lined up in your Layers menu. You will then arrange them so that the furthest U is at the bottom of the list in the Layers menu, and the closest U to the camera is at the top of the list. Working on the next to the bottom image, you are going to take the Lasso tool, select around yourself largely, select Inverse, then hit the Delete key. Once you do this, you'll see yourself in the layer below, and two of you have appeared. Select, Deselect gets rid of all of the selections. I'm going to poke the background layer in the eye and use my eraser tool with a fuzzy edge to go around the selection that I just deleted, getting rid of that hard edge. I will then proceed with the next layer above, turning it on, making a lasso selection around my person, being careful that I get shadows and things that have moved. Select the inverse, hit the delete key, then using the fuzzy edged eraser to do the same thing I did before. In this particular layer, I'm actually overlapping myself a little with the person in the background. So I will have to use the polygonal lasso tool here to kind of cut carefully around the places in which I overlap myself. I have sped this up, but be careful as you make your selection around your face or arms or hands, because you are going to want that to look correct. Once you delete the selection, being careful to be on the right layer, you will still need to go back to your fuzzy edged eraser to make corrections to hard edges that you've left behind. Now you can make the fuzzy edged eraser larger or smaller by using the left or right bracket key on the keyboard. It will all just depend on your needs. To make all of this easier on yourself, it is very important for you to have layered the images correctly, meaning that your furthest U is the background image and the closest U to the camera is your foreground image. You will work towards the camera one layer at a time. The steps repeat with each layer. Select around yourself, including things that you move or shadows you cast. Select the inverse, hit the delete key, select deselect, use the eraser to blur the edge, fuzzy edged eraser. If your new layer overlaps yourself, use the polygonal lasso tool to carefully cut away the pieces you need to cut away. It is also very important that you are on the correct layer when deleting or erasing. You have to keep up with that. Now that it's finished, I'm just going to turn on and off all the pieces or the layers so that you can see what they look like individually. This is what you should have. We are almost done. I'm going to come to this adjustment palette over here on the side. I'm looking for color lookup. It's going to put a new layer in my layer palette. Try out some of the things in this drop box. It may be something that goes with your theme or idea, or it could just be something that color adjusts what you have created. I am also going to add an adjustment layer for brightness contrast because I feel like mine needs it. Yours may or may not. You decide. As always, you should save your file as a Photoshop file while you're working on it or it's in progress. But once you decide to turn it in, you need to flatten the image, save it as a JPEG.